Hey, I'm Pat. Welcome to Daily Devo. Today we're going to talk about purpose. I'm currently reading a management leadership book, and one of the things the author is pointing out is the importance that every team member understands their purpose. He displays through statistics that most people go to work every day not knowing exactly what their purpose is or how they're truly impacting the company. No wonder so many people dislike their jobs. Now, connect that to our lives. Imagine going through life and not even knowing if you have a purpose, or having a rather meaningless purpose. One of the many, many hopes you and I have as Jesus followers is purpose. God tells us that we are both, listen closely to this. God tells us that we are both characters in his story and carriers of his story. Wow! Why is this whole knowing our purpose so important? Well, I think it's fairly obvious that we will live differently if we're living out this truth, that we are both characters in God's story and carriers of God's story. Jesus displays this truth even in the last week of his life. At one point, he mentions, once again to his followers, that his hour has come, meaning he's saying it's almost time for me to give my life, for him to give his life for us. And by the way, most of his disciples, most of his followers were completely confused by all of this death talk until after he died and rose from the dead. Well, in John chapter 12, Jesus is telling them his hour has come. It's just days before he's going to die. And he tells his story. You got to read it. Seriously, after listening to this, sit down and read John chapter 12, verses 23 to 36. And when you read it, note what Jesus says in verse 27. Now my soul is deeply troubled. He knows he's going to die. Should I pray, Father, save me from this hour? But this is the very reason that I came. But this is the very reason that I came. Jesus knew his purpose. Jesus understood why he came. Jesus recognized his ultimate goal. Shouldn't we? Oh, we have an amazing purpose. Not just to exist, not just to earn an income, not just to survive until one day we don't. You and I, as sons and daughters of the King, are both characters in his story and carriers of his story. What a purpose! Imagine the ramifications in your life today if you lived out that purpose as a character in his story and a carrier of his story. Today, live on purpose for that purpose.